The Trouble with Democrats, Part 2. When they did a poll in the media, 96% of all media voted for Al Gore and claims to be Democrats. It's kind of funny how so many of them claim to be neutral as far as the war goes. You know, Tom Brokaw did not even want to wear a Stars and Stripes little lapel pin, you know, because he wanted to appear unbiased in his reporting. But they don't mind taking sides politically. No worries about bias there. The liberal elite news media really shit their pants when George W. Bush was elected and re-elected. Fair and square, by the way. So shocked and dismayed they were that they sought to blow it up into a big story about election fraud. And when that didn't work, the mainstream media with its trustworthy, level-headed old reliables, such as Chris Matthews, for instance, swore to themselves that if Bush ever did anything right, they would ignore it. Keep it off the front page, somewhere behind the classified section, mixed up with the coupon. As far as CNN was concerned, yeah, they had promised the babe with the tight blouse that tonight was the night that she would have the chance to finally do her story about how quitting smoking improves one's chances for a longer life. So, you know, of course, in a half-an-hour news show or an hour news show, there would be no time for reports of successful captures of Iranian generals in uniform inside the country of Iraq. And definitely no one would be interested in Bush's State of the Union address, where he proposed to the nation that citizens should be allowed a $15,000 tax cut for medical expenses. After all, it's not like Hillary had come up with the idea or anything. Their strategy was a two-pronged attack. The other half of this strategy consisted of bringing to the front page any tiny thing that went wrong, no matter how small. If there was a rally somewhere supporting the president, and there were hundreds of people there, they would not mention that. But if there were 3 people there holding a sign with the president's picture and a Nazi mustache on his face, they'd be sure to report that and interview all 3 of them. The strategy was to politicize and propagandize and lie repeatedly until the lie was repeated by millions without question, until it became unquestioned truth because people heard it on the news. Number 1 most important mission of the media was make Bush look like an idiot. This was much more important than unifying the American people or any audience behind the war effort in Iraq around the world. This time, the news was to be handled completely differently than the press had done in wars past, like against Germany and Japan. Some say it's because of the 24-hour media today, but that's not true. Because back then, you know, the media just spoon-fed us tidbits of facts that don't come close to telling the whole story. It's just that back then, the media showed the people the positive side of World War II, trying to keep them unified. On TV and at the movie theater, on newsreels, and in the papers. Compare that to how it is now, how they exploit the negative aspects, which, as bad as they seem to be, are not any worse than any situation in Europe and Japan 60 years ago. In fact, things are going much better than they were then. but you wouldn't know it from the reports you get. It seems so otherworldly, bizarro world, like the parallel universe of the Superman comics I used to read when I was 12 years old. A good guy, like President George W. Bush, can be so hated and reviled, while a degenerate like Bill Clinton is damn near worshipped. If you believe in the right to life, or in other words, you're against abortion, or if you believe that a marriage should be reserved exclusively to denote the union of a man and a woman, they will utter such a snappy comeback as, "Come on, man, it's 2007," or insert whatever year. But they are always seeking to revive the 60s with their war protests and rallies and such. Same way they did during the Vietnam days, which is, to them, the good old days. There'll be lots of freaks there, acting freaky, holding up freaky signs, saying ignorant things, promoting communism, or spouting misconceptions about the war, chanting dumb slogans like a bunch of zombies, or having sing-alongs doing bad Joan Baez impressions while strumming a guitar. And there'll be homely girls everywhere in long dresses with that unemployed look, if I may be so discerning and judgmental. God knows they are. Wearing flowers in their hair, shaking tambourines, and doing that Grateful Dead head dance. You know, the one, the unbalanced, uncoordinated, non-rhythmic gyration done under the influence of acid and who knows what else. So, just who exactly is behind the times? So disingenuous, pretentious, so patronizing, so insincere, and shamefully, yet unashamedly pandering are they. It's okay for Democrats to say that the environment is going to hell unless you vote for them. But if Cheney and other prominent Republicans say that Democrat policies give strength to our enemies, the radical Islamo-fascist terrorists, they are said to be politicizing the war. The 9/11 Commission looked into the possibility that the Bush administration should have warned the American people that something was up. But nowadays, when Republicans try to warn the public about the possibilities of another 9/11 attack, or worse, they are said to be just trying to scare everybody. And they can do no right. Remember that color code system that was started right after 9/11 with the organization of the Homeland Security Bureau, where red was really bad and orange was a serious specific threat, and yellow meant elevated, which is where we are now and where we always have been ever since the color system was introduced. Democrats and their big kiss-ass media will hit the ceiling about scaring the people. If the color changes and nothing happens, then he'll be ridiculed. And if the color doesn't change and if something happens, he'll be ridiculed. Watch. You know, Democrats have been ignoring the threats from radical Muslim terrorists for over 30 years now. Come on, man, it's 2007, so get with the times. Start fighting terrorism.